Hello friends, Tanya here for Spellbinders, and today I'm playing with the April 2022 Large Die of the Month and the Glimmer of the Month. The Large Die of the Month this month is called Say Cheese, and it creates a great big camera, which is really pretty, and it has a bunch of flowers and some foliage that you can use to decorate it. Very similar to the typewriter and some of the other fun appliance related. I don't know. Is that an appliance, a typewriter, and a camera? There's a couple ways you can make this camera. This has a giant flash, old-fashioned flash that goes with it. And there's several pieces here that you can use to create that flash. You have this slice piece that you cut several times, I think 8 times, to create the faceted area that created that flash. And I have die cut these pieces from some shimmery white and some shimmery silver cardstock. I did cut some of these circular pieces from both because I wasn't sure what color I wanted to color or to use on the finished product. And here I am realizing that somehow I'm not assembling this as intended. I had taken the two circles, one's larger and one's smaller, and I took the silver larger one and I adhered the white smaller one right to the center of it and started adding my wedge pieces or slice pieces, and they didn't quite fit the way I intended. We're going to make this work anyway. I take the silver larger circle frame and I add that to the center. And I am now trying to figure out how I want to put this together. I have the little bit of a sliver of that silver showing at the top, and I just rotate that until it's centered at the top of the large flash. And I take the 2 pieces for the body of the camera, which I have die cut and then run back through with the embossing mat sandwich in the Spellbinders Platinum. And I am adhering that together with a little bit of coaster blank. And then I will slip our great big flash right between those 2 layers that have a little extra dimension. That gives them a little space and a little room to be adhered in there. That is 2 layers of a heavyweight specialty cardstock that the flash is made out of. So the dimension from the coaster blank is going to be perfect. There's also a little flash that goes right here. I'm taking the silver base, and then there is a smaller white piece that goes inside that. And there is ultimately a little shine piece that I will add later. Next, we have our shutter area or the lens area where the shutter will live. And I'm going to use the white larger ring that is actually the same die as you use to put in the center of the flash on the top. There's a smaller or thinner frame that I'm going to add to this one, and I'm using silver for that one. And I'll add the silver circle fallout for that because I want this to be like the lens cap on a camera. Just going to make sure that fits perfectly inside that circle with my little pokey tool. There's a little shine piece that we'll add to this. It's a cute little half moon shape. And then we're also going to take a white piece and add that to the center of we're going to take the silver piece and put that in the center of the flash, the large specialty flash, and the smaller little half moon shine piece also in silver. I wanted it to be coordinated or subtle, just add a subtle look to that. Next, we have a couple of other little details. We have one of the dials on the top of the camera, probably the push button to take your shutter button. And then a little dial on the side, probably for like choosing your settings, maybe your shutter speed or your aperture. I don't know if any of you have a history of playing with cameras. I know I have. It's certainly been helpful in my blogging and videoing history. And I've always loved to take photos. In fact, My gateway into paper crafts was scrapbooking, so I took lots of photos of my kids. So the camera is actually quite apt. I used to be running around with a great big beautiful camera whenever we went to family events and was kind of the official photographer. Moms tend to fall into that group. Next, we have these little items that will be the strap for the camera. They'll hold the strap for the camera. And we have these wispy little curves, and these are going to be the actual neck strap that you're going to attach to your camera. I add a little glue on the back of the top part of the swoop and a little bit to the front because we're going to glue it to behind the main body of the camera and on top of the little bracket for the loop to go through. And those actually fit in there just super easy. I was actually quite surprised with how quickly and easily this camera came together once I had all of the pieces die cut. The hardest part was just deciding what colors I wanted each piece to be. We also have a detail piece to put along the bottom of the camera. I decided to keep that the same color as the other little bits like the buttons and knobs for the top and the little brackets for the neck strap. There's also all of these adorable little sentiment pieces that come with it. I think it's hello, smile, and thanks that come with this die set, and it has a rectangle base that you can add behind it to add a little contrasting color and make that sentiment shine just a little more. I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive behind that, and there is actually some embossing that shows you exactly where this sentiment goes on the camera also. So many great details embossed right into this card. Next, we're going to assemble some of these flowers. Now that large piece there, the two pieces that layer on top of each other, kind of look like a strawberry to me, but that's not how that's intended to be used. And I thought maybe this was the green top for the strawberry, but the more I looked at it, it is a uniquely shaped flower. I think this is actually really quite fun. It's very whimsical. This little piece is the little, I don't remember what they're called, but they're that little green part that holds on to the flower, to the stem. We'll add that to our cute little wispy stem here. 2 stems cut with each pass of your die. And we're going to add that to our camera. I'm just kind of dry fitting these in. I made all of my other flowers look like daisies with a brown center and a lovely honey yellow colored petal base. We did a light green for the stems and the leaves that come with this, and they are all separate pieces, so you can add as many leaves as you want, no leaves or lots of leaves. There's also a branch of foliage that you can add as an accent. I really love that there's some filler because adding greenery is what really fills an arrangement out. Now this is actually the same petals as for this flower that I just picked up. I cut 2 of them in the same color and layered them, and it looks like a Lazy Susan. We are adding some more leaves. There's some little tiny flowers, and they also have layered stencils. I'm going to add some of those, and instead of using some bright colors, I'm using brown and a nice pretty little pale yellow to add a center to this aqua colored flower. I was trying to add some extra color without going too far from the color scheme that's already on the camera. Some nice peaches and teals, yellows, and some brown to just keep that all tied together. I'm adding 2 of the smaller leaves behind this small 5-petal flower, and I actually made 3 of those 5-petal flowers. Next, I pull out the Glimmer of the Month, the the Glimmer Burst Glimmer Foil Kit, and I'm foiling this with the Prism paper. I think that's what this is. It's either Prism or Aura. One of those is a gold base and one is a silver base, and I can never remember which one is which. But this is the foil that comes in your kit. I'm carefully taping this down to this 4.5 by 6.5 piece of white cardstock. And I foiled it twice, once on the top, flipped it around, and once on the bottom. And we have a complete Radiant Burst glimmer foiled panel here. And it just looks fantastic behind this camera, just like that flash had just gone off. It would also work very well with the embossing folder of the month, which is called Radiant Burst. So we've got Glimmer Burst and we've got Radiant Burst. Definitely have a theme going here. And I am also going to take a piece of white shimmer cardstock, and I have I have cut this down to 6 3/4 by 4 3/4 to add a matte behind our camera panel here. I think that this is a really fun card, and I happened to make this a thanks card because I am currently needing lots of thank you cards. We're going to assemble this from the bottom up. I'm going to add the shimmer white cardstock to the 5x7 white cardstock, then add the Glimmer Hot foiled panel, and then I will add our camera. I haven't adhered all of these little flowers yet. Let's do that quickly before I add that to the card. And I had actually made a little tiny Lazy Susan card. Is that what's called? They are called Lazy Susans, aren't they? Or is that just the spinny thing in your kitchen? Oh my gosh. Tell me in the description box below, or in the comments below, which it is supposed to be. I think I'm saying the flower wrong. I'm just going to tuck all of these little pieces of foliage and flowers in behind that teal part of the camera. I wonder how many different versions of a camera you could make with these different pieces. I bet you could make it with just the small piece, just the large piece, with and without that large flash on the top. There's so many great options with this die set. I love that the flowers are a little smaller. There's so many flowers in the club kits this month, and you could combine these in lots of fun different ways. I can't wait to see what everyone creates. Just adding a little more foliage. I want this to be nice and full and with lots of flowers and fun on the camera. Almost done getting all of my flowers in here. I am struggling a little bit with how I want this flower to be, adding a little dot of glue behind each of the flower heads to get them to stick to the camera so that it doesn't fall apart or doesn't flop around when you're trying to put it in your envelope. I did remember my little shine piece on this small flash, and I did decide to keep that white just like the other pieces. I was trying to stay tone on tone with those. Now we'll adhere our camera to the front of the card. But first, I want to show you that you can use those circle elements from the Glimmer of the Month to add a fun sentiment to that right in the middle of that great big flash if you want it. They fit in there just perfectly. I think I'm going to add one of those to the inside of the card. Before we get to that, I add a little coaster blank to the back of our camera to get a little extra height and add a little extra detail to the front of the card. And then voila, that is done. We already have our sentiment and this very detailed, beautiful main image with that glimmer hot foiling in the background. It's a stunning delivery for your thank you message. I had the "You are the stardust in my day" to the inside of the card. I just thought that was a perfect addition to this card. And we'll tuck some of these leaves in behind that glimmer foiled sentiment that's die cut and added to the inside of the card. Don't be afraid to add die cuts to the inside of your card. They really don't add a lot of bulk to the inside, and they look stunning. It just pulls the whole card together when the inside of your card matches the outside. And sometimes we really do need to put a little extra effort on the inside so that it really matches the tone of the entire card. That's my project for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I'd love to hear in your comments below what your favorite parts of this video were. And again, tell me what kind of flower that is. If you aren't subscribed to this channel, please take a moment to do that now. And if you're interested in any of the product I used today, check that description box below. Until next time, bye-bye.